Hi, and welcome back to It's Not Rocket Science, 5 questions over coffee. I have my coffee mug in front of me. I'm here with Anne from Forward Thinking Publishing. I think Anne is going to give us some great insights into how we, as business owners, can go about letting people know about our experiences, our expertise by publishing. So, Anne, welcome to It's Not It's Not Rocket Science, 5 questions over coffee.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've got my coffee mug too.
Excellent, well done, well done. So, Anne, tell me about the sort of people that you help with your business. What is it you're helping them to do?
So mainly I work with business owners that really want to kind of promote their business by writing a book, and that has to be done in a specific way. So one of the problems that they know what they do and they're expert at what they do, but they just don't know how to write a book. So that's where I come in.
And tell me, what sort of things do they find themselves doing to try and get out of, getting things written down that don't help them? What is it you help them to sort of straighten out in their heads?
Yeah, I think they know how to write. It's not a question of the writing. I never, as an editor, I never correct the language or the writing. That's always quite perfect. It's how they kind of structure the book. They just don't know how to write a book, and that's a lot different to I don't know how to write, because they obviously do. They just don't know how to write it in a book and how to get it into kind of a book.
And what do you see as some of the main problems with people actually therefore writing a book? What are some of the things that you see that go wrong?
Yeah, so one of the main issues that I see when I have a manuscript is that people don't think about who the reader is. Then they try to shove so much of their expertise in one book, they're not speaking to anybody.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like a kind of marketing. If you're not speaking to anybody, you can't market it. And this is the same kind of with the book. I know within 2 sentences of a manuscript who the reader is, that I know they don't know who they are.
Yes,
so
yes.
Amazing.
I know. I was taught many years ago, when it comes to starting any piece of writing, in order to really get it clear in my head exactly who it was that I was writing to, that I had to sort of get a picture of them, give them a name, and then start any writing with "Dear Anne" or "Dear Fiona." So that whenever I was writing it very specifically to a person, even if that person was a fictitious person or an avatar or a persona, whatever. But by having that clear picture and writing "Dear so-and-so" at the beginning of my writing, that enabled me to be absolutely clear about writing something very specific to a specific person.
Yeah, and people don't want to do it because they don't want a niche. They think by speaking to one person, they're only speaking to one person. But I can write a book in 4 weeks because I know the subject, I know who the reader is, and it's very simple kind of with the writing. So yeah.
Agreed.
So the number one problem that I see is that they don't know who the reader is.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, I know you've got some valuable free advice to give to people who have got that sort of problem, and I've got the link on the screen at the moment. Do you want to talk us through what is on that particular booklet that you've got, the 3 steps to master your writing booklet?
Yeah, so it takes you through kind of and know your reader, what is their problem and how you're going to solve it. So these are the questions that before you start a manuscript, you should be looking at before you even start kind of the writing process. And think about who they are, what their problems are, how you're going to solve it, and which will make the writing so much easier. And you can write a book in a couple of weeks when you know these questions. So that will really help you to figure out how you're going to get the book all structured. So that will tell you how to do it all from the structure.
Do you know something, Anne? It is the same. It's the same story for so many things, isn't it? I was only talking to somebody on one of my growth programs yesterday, and they're trying to pull the growth lever at the moment of getting their proposals accepted. And so we were talking about, the key things to put into a proposal. And the three key things that I said that they had to do was know exactly who the person was that was going to be reading the proposal, what was their problem that they had, and what was the solution that they were looking for, how you were going to provide that solution. It's really the key to business, isn't it? Know your audience, know the problem you solve, and and demonstrate that you can actually understand that problem, and demonstrate that you've got the solution to it. It is the key to everything.
Yeah, it is the key to everything. But when you write a book, people seem to forget that. But if you get it all right at the beginning, then your marketing becomes very clear.
Yes.
Then you can sell that book. So that's what we do. We produce a great looking book, but we also help you with the marketing by getting it set up in the correct way.
Great.
Too. So yeah.
Brilliant. Was there a particular course or program that brought you into publishing that really sort of helped you to understand exactly how you could do this?
Not really. I understood the power of a book when I published one. Because kind of like all my clients, they want to kind of get their advice out there, like to help people, which I did. But then when I went to networking events, I didn't understand the power of it. Selling became very easy for me. I sold like a £2,000 program in like 10 minutes with my book. They didn't even want to read the book, I was really upset. They didn't want to pay £10 for my book, but they paid £2,000 for a program. So it's the power that book gives you, like as a business owner, that you don't realize until you've published one.
It's the credibility builder, isn't it? It's the thing which actually really builds your credibility to have a book or something like that behind you, which allows you to sort of say, I really am an expert. I know because I've written a book about it.
Yeah, because it takes effort. It takes kind of your money as well. So people really see that. But there's a lot of people that want to write a book, but they just don't. So they really admire those people that have taken the time, worked it out, got the help they've needed, and they've got a kind of like something to show for it, which not a lot of people will want to do. Well, they want to do, but they don't do.
You mentioned at the end it's possible to, you said you can write a book in 30 days, which I know is possible because I've done something similar. Do you have tips that you give people on how to sort of, be able to crank out a book in such a short space of time?
Yeah, it's all in my 3 steps to master. And I did it because I was a ghostwriter for someone, which I knew the subject, but I didn't know all of the subjects. And so I had to put all of those, like, who is the reader? What is the problem? What am I going to solve? I had to do all of that. And I wrote that in actually 5 weeks because I got ill after 4 weeks. But I mean, I did that in 5 weeks. But it's going back to those basics. Who is the reader? What's their problem? So I had to put all that into practice to get a book all written. Yeah.
Brilliant. So I love it.
Quite eye-opening because I stood there because when I first got the proposal, I how am I going to write this? So I have all the same questions all my clients have, and I just thought, no, back to the reader. Who is the reader? Yeah.
Absolutely love it. I think you're absolutely right. It is so critical we get that, focus on the person that you are speaking to, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially when I see a manuscript, I had one and it was 90,000 words. I asked him who the reader was, and it was like 5 different people. So I'm like, well, that's not going to sell anyway. But then I had to cut out the words. I had to cut out like 30,000 words, and it pains me because it took him so much time to write these words. But they just didn't. Once you've worked out who the reader is, that reader was, they didn't actually. But I had to take out so many words. They didn't kind of belong there anymore. So that what pains me is that I'm having to cut a lot of words out. once they realise who the reader is. Yeah.
I love it. And we're coming towards the end of our interview, and I've only got sort of the one question left for you, really, which is, there must be one question that I haven't asked, which you would quite like me to have asked at this stage. What would you have liked me to have asked you, which I haven't so far?
I think a lot of the time people say, like, can I write it? Am I really good at English? Am I good at this? I wasn't really good at school. So these are the blocks people come to me with. And I say, like, it isn't about where the comma is or if you've kind of used the capital letter. It's about having a voice. And if your voice shines through that kind of your manuscript, then that's where the power is. It isn't in, like, and no one's going to, like, be upset if the comma's in the wrong place. But if your voice doesn't shine through, I think that is a really important, other than the English language.
I think it comes back to that thing that you started with, isn't it? It's knowing who you're trying to reach. Yeah. If you know who you're trying to reach, if you know what their problem is and you really want to help, then all you have to do then is put, the effort behind that, and then a book comes from that, because you are reaching out to help somebody, even if that is with money intention, but because you're looking at ways of helping them, it becomes easier to put that across, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it helps you with the motivation. It always does. If I'm thinking about that one person and I'm like, I've got the information that they need, that's if I don't write it, then I'm not doing them any favors. So that always kind of motivates me into getting it out there, because it is scary. It is scary putting your stuff out in a book, and I understand that. But I'm looking about that person. If I can change someone's lives, even if, like, if you know how to do social media and you tell them, it's going to save them so much time. So why not get it in a book?
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's great. I love what you've been telling us. I love what you're speaking about. I think it's brilliant. Look, everybody, if you're watching this and thinking, I'd love to know about who's coming on so I could get on and ask questions of these people and really catch up with some of the great advice you're getting, go to this link, which is https://link.thecompleteapproach.co.uk. That's link.thecompleteapproach.co.uk/newsletter. That gets you onto our newsletter list. You will get an email every week which lets you know about who's coming onto the podcast, what great advice they're going to be giving you, so that you can get your questions into the people that you need to speak to. Really would encourage you to do that. And I'd love to thank Anne this day for coming and spending just a few minutes with us about how we can go about very easily creating a book. And it's so simple with just 3 simple steps. Anne, thank you for that advice.
Thank you for having me on, Stuart.
That's absolutely no problem at all. Speak to you again soon.
Okay, bye.